Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Casey. I'm a CFI MEI with over 1,600 hours experience, and I started flight training less than 2 years ago. Today we're going to talk about the 9 things I wish somebody would have told me before I started training. All right, step 1, get a medical. This is public knowledge. Everybody knows that they are going to need a medical. With that, a lot of people go into flight training and think that's something that they can get once they've actually started training, and that is true. Now, I've had multiple students already in just my little 2 years of experience that have thought that everything would be fine. They're younger people, they're in their 20s, no medical issues that they were aware of, and they would go into it and they'd start doing a flight or two, and it started off as a discovery, and then they're like, oh, I love it. I want to fly a couple times a week. I'll go get my medical done right away. And then all of a sudden, 2-3 weeks later is when they actually do their appointment. They have 10-15 hours in the aircraft, and all of a sudden they're realizing that this FAA medical isn't going to be a one-day thing. It can take months. It can take years. I have a student that I met after he had his medical, and it had taken him 4 years to get his medical. So anything that's on your record, medically or criminally, anything like that can prevent you from getting a medical. It's something that you should take care of right at the very beginning. As soon as you decide you're interested in aviation, take care of it and make sure you are medically cleared to even fly an aircraft. Now, there's 3 different types of medicals. Get the one that you think you'll potentially use. If you're interested in getting your medical to be a private pilot, cool, get a 3rd class medical, who cares? You can go with the basic. Now, if you think there's an interest that you're ever gonna wanna go into a career in aviation, you wanna actually fly jets, you wanna go fly for airliners, just go get your 1st class medical. If you go get your 3rd class and they don't look into it as in depth as a 1st class medical, there is a chance you go do all of your training, get your licenses, and then you're like, oh, let's go get my 1st class medical. It's time for me to have an actual career in aviation, and boom, you're grounded before you ever begin. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. Make sure you can legally fly an aircraft based on your medical record before you even start spending money. Item number 2 is it gets expensive very fast. It doesn't matter how you do it, it's gonna get really, really costly. When I looked up how to become an airline pilot when I was gonna start training a couple years back now, or less than 2 years ago, it told me that I could expect to spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I ended up choosing a route that I thought included all of it, right? I chose one of the main flight schools that told me it was gonna cost me approximately $100,000, one-time payment, boom, done. And obviously it's not a one-time payment, it's a loan, but I was expecting it to be approximately $100,000 like on the dot. There are so many hidden costs in aviation that are not talked about. It doesn't matter how you do it. If it's flight, like a big flight school, if it's privately, like with a one-on-one instructor, there's gonna be things that come at you. You're gonna need a headset. Okay, well, maybe you buy a cheap one online, but you're gonna want a better one as you're flying more and more. Potentially over $1,000. You're gonna need an iPad or resources of books, all of those things. You're gonna need to take your written exams. Every single one that I've taken has been $175, I believe. We need one for your private, you need one for your written, you need one for your commercial. I took a couple for my CFI. All of a sudden, you're talking about $500 to $1,000 to get all of your ratings. It quickly adds up. Check rides, $800 to $2,000 per check ride. I did 7 of them. If you fail and you have a recheck, potentially you pay the same price twice. It adds up quick. I will make a budget video in the future and kind of what to expect when you're actually signing up for a flight school or just choosing aviation and going into it like with a one-on-one instructor. But you can expect it to get expensive fast. Choose a route that you can afford. And if you can't afford any other routes, choose an option that has the loan with the expectation that it's gonna cost way more than the loan. Item number 3 is gonna be Instructor Fit. Every instructor is different, every one of them has a different teaching style, and every one of you guys as a student has a different learning style. Pick an instructor that actually matches what you're gonna do. This is something that a lot of people overlook. They just think, oh, let me look up local flight schools. They go to the local flight school, first person they fly with, boom, they just assume it's good to go. It's not how it works. Pick an instructor that genuinely works for you. Fly with 2 or 3 instructors. It's totally fine. Just ask for a discovery flight. You go fly with 2 or 3 people, see which one you mesh with better, talk about kind of what they like how they charge you, how they actually go about doing everything. Some instructors are gonna charge you for actual time in the air. Some instructors are gonna charge you from the time that you scheduled them from. 2 to 4 is 2 hours. Look into it. Same thing goes if you go to a big school. Like if you go to like Embry-Riddle, or if you go to ATP flight school, if you go to any of these things that you're like assigned an instructor, speak up. you're spending a ton of money. You are the customer. Pick an instructor that works well for you. And maybe you can't pick, but if there's an instructor that really doesn't mesh with you, speak up and ask for somebody else, because it is allowed. And I've seen it at the big schools. I've seen it outside. People ask for different instructors. It's no big deal. It happens. Pick one that actually meshes with your learning style, because it's something that is overlooked a lot of times. But one of the biggest reasons people fail check rides is because they don't have quality instruction throughout their training. All right, item number 4 is going to be the time between lessons matters. Everybody says you can do it in no time, right? You can go 0 time to an airline pilot in under 2 years, and that is true. You're flying a lot. Things kind of build upon each other. As they do so, the alternate is also true, right? So things stop building on each other the more breaks you have. So if you're flying once or twice a month, you're not progressing at the same level as somebody that's flying 3 or 4 times a week. You're just not. You're relearning some of the things. You're not confidently going through your flows. Little things slowly add up. Now, 20 hours in the aircraft for somebody that's flown 2 months for 2 or 3 months isn't a lot of time. They have a ton of time between those lessons. They haven't built upon their foundational blocks. They might not be ready to solo after 20 or 30 hours because it's taken them so long to get there. Somebody that's flown 10, 15 hours in the last week is probably closer to soloing than somebody that's taken longer. Now, you're in no rush to go solo or anything like that, but that same thing goes for check ride readiness. The time between your actual flying matters. No, I'm not saying go fly 7 days a week and that's the best way to learn, because you do need some breaks. You need time to study the grounds, which we'll talk about the grounds in a second. But you need to not be getting complacent, right? You need to have things fresh in your mind. The quicker that you're getting, or the minimized time between flights is going to help you guys in the long run. Plan a couple flights per week at a bare minimum if you're trying to do this in any type of relative speed. Number 5 is going to be ground school is just as important as flying. Controversial take, but just because you are good on the controls does not mean you're going to pass a check ride. There is a ton of ground in aviation. Not only is there written exams, but in your practical you have an oral exam. It is probably the part that is going to be the most nerve-wracking when you go into your check ride. Now, it's also the thing that you can study for free. Doesn't cost you anything to actually study, right? It costs you time in an airplane. More than likely it costs you time if you're in a simulator, unless you have an at-home simulator. So one of the things that you can maximize your potential and your chances of passing a check ride is coming over-prepared for your oral exam. Making sure you are fully ready. Read online like study guides, read the FAR AIM, read the PHAC. They all matter. The more time you spend on the ground prior to your check ride, the more confident you're going to be in the oral, the more confident you're going to get through the first half of your check ride where you're building that relationship with the DPE. And it's more than just about a check ride, right? It is important to actually have that knowledge when you're going through the entire training. Everything you learn in private builds upon into your instrument. Everything that you learn in your instrument is going to matter when you get to your commercial and later on for your CFI or II or eventually your ATP certificate. You need to know all these things, right? Don't glimpse or don't skip over one of the most important things. Start studying the ground early. Number 6 is how challenging it is. This is a very tough task. It's not like getting your driver's license. This is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money, and it's going to put a strain on you, like you emotionally. It's more of a mental game than you realize, both between how much time you're putting into it and getting overwhelmed and anything, as well as like just overall how you feel in terms of your confidence going into it. It's also one of those things that becomes a mental game of, are you ready at the end? Going into a check ride, if you know everything, but you are a mental case and you just can't keep your composure because you just get so nervous and you just start fumbling your words, you're not ready for a check ride. This is one of the things that's not talked about a lot. You have to be mentally rock solid going into a check ride. You need to feel 100% prepared if you're gonna pass every one of your check rides. Now, I'm not saying if you're a little nervous, that's not normal, because it is, and we're all nervous going into check rides. That's totally fine. But you need to set yourself up for a level of confidence, knowing that you know what you need to know going into your check ride or into an interview or anything else in aviation. You need to be fully confident. Same thing goes when you're actually flying the aircraft. When you're soloing or you have that private certificate and you're gonna go fly by yourself or with your wife or your kids or whatever, you darn well better be super confident that you know what you're doing, right? So that is one of the things that you need to know as a person, that you can get to that level of confidence in something that you put a lot of effort into. Item number 7 is you will hit a plateau. It happens to every single one of us, especially those of us that are flying a ridiculous amount of time, right? If you're in one of those fast track programs or you're trying to do this as quickly as possible, you are flying every single day. You are not going to progress every single day. There will be periods of time when you feel like you get better and better and better. You go solo, you whatever, and all these things are going great. And then there's going to be a time when you forget how to land an aircraft. It happens for hundreds of hours in your training. It's going to happen. You got to kind of work through that and recognize, hey, when that happens, take a step back, take a breather, work with your instructor through it. If your instructor can't help you through it, maybe go fly with somebody else for a short period of time. It's totally normal. It's no big deal. Biggest thing when you're hitting these plateaus is just kind of reassuring yourself that you're going to get through it. It might not happen instantaneous, and it might delay your ability to continue progressing, right? It might stop you from being check ride ready or whatever, but it's totally normal and you can do it. You just have to put in some time or give yourself a little bit of a mental break, right? Reset, take a couple days off, come back at it, and just keep going, because it is possible, and all of us have had those plateaus, and you just got to work through them. Item number 8 is going to be the FAA check ride. It is not as difficult as people make it out to seem. When you read online, everybody talks about failing check rides, how scary check rides are, how nerve-wracking it is. 90% of the check rides that I've heard of don't go like that. 90% of them are, you sit down with a DP, you guys talk for 20, 30 minutes before you even begin, and he instantly tells you to like relax. He's just there to make sure you know what you're supposed to know. They're not expecting perfection. Even on your CFI check ride or your ATP certificate check ride, any check ride, they're not expecting perfection. All they're trying to see is that you're a safe, competent pilot for the level of certificate that you're getting. They are not as scary as you think they are. If you haven't already, as you get into your training, watch mock videos. Most of the mock videos on YouTube, like mock private check ride, like look that up on YouTube or wherever. Most of them are going to give you a really realistic experience within that video. It is 90% of the times 2 people just hanging out talking aviation. Yes, there is an aspect of it that is an exam, right? They're making sure that you know what you're talking about, but it's not as scary as you think it is. And getting to that understanding before you walk into that room is really, really important. And our final thing today is going to be that you're going to enjoy it. Aviation is arguably one of the coolest things I've ever done. It is the most fun that I've had on a consistent day-to-day basis in just about all of my life. It is so fun. It is super fulfilling. You're going to see some incredible views. You're going to have some great times with family, friends, whoever. You're going to enjoy it. Have fun. Make the most of it. And if you're getting burnt out, slow down. It's supposed to be fun. And yeah, we're talking about it in a career aspect on my channel because that's the goal, but it is really fun. Go have fun, like go enjoy it, make the most of it. And if you go on a flight or two and you don't enjoy it from the beginning, take it as a sign. There are reasons to get into aviation, and if you don't enjoy flying, that is the biggest reason to run away. I haven't heard of many people not enjoying it when they actually start, but if you don't, you really shouldn't continue because 99% of the people that get into it really, really like it, and those people are going to be a lot more passionate and a lot more driven. Things that you're driven and enjoy doing, you put a lot more effort into, and you're going to be more successful in. So enjoy the journey, and I will see you guys on the next one.